Oh my god. What are Rick and Ryan up to now? It's time for the Slightly Warped Podcast.
Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Slightly Warped Podcast. We're your Warp Brothers. I'm Rick, joined as always by Big Show. Show, how you doing, man?
What up, what up, what up? I'm good. I'm good. It's Tuesday. Still got a good week ahead of us. Started off so good. We're just gonna
Yeah,
keep it pushing.
I don't know. Today seemed kind of like it has been a long day, but it has not at the same time. I think my morning just started off really, really slow, but it picked up. I am
Gotcha.
I am counting on tomorrow to go by fast, simply because hump day. Get it out of the way.
Just don't go into work on Thursday thinking it's Friday, because that always used to tick me off. TGIF. No, bro, it's Thursday. Son of a bitch.
I think I've done that a time or two. Or at the very least, you go in on a Monday thinking it's Tuesday. No, you just started.
Yep.
So, starting off with our topics today, tell me, we both know from conversations previous, we love the wars. We're all about Star Wars. Uh,
Hmm.
how do you feel about Star Trek?
I am not a big Trekkie fan. Never really have been. So I'm really a neophyte when it comes to that whole series. I did start like when they rebooted it basically, and you had the younger Captain Kirk and all that they did a
Yeah.
few probably about 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoyed that first movie. I thought that was a great reintroduction of the series to a younger or a newer generation. But the next one came out, and it didn't really keep pique my interest. And all these spin-off shows, brother. I was a kid growing up watching it, but I wasn't a Trekkie, never have been. So wrong person asked.
I think the same can be said for me, kid growing up with it, especially the original Trek, because damn, it was on Channel 41 every day.
For like
Um,
hours at a time.
yeah. I will tell you this though. I've started watching the latest Star Trek show, Strange New Worlds,
Hmm.
and it differs from all the other spin-offs in the fact that it's more like the original Trek. Um, there's no long drawn out stories that go from week to week. It's basically your episode of the week. Get it in, get it out, move on. Um, and it's got the humor, and it's got the excitement that some of the other ones didn't have. I'm looking at you, Voyager. Um, I like it, and while I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan in the world either, I will give that a watch every week. Plus, it's on
Yeah,
cable. It's only eight or 10 episodes a year, so
I probably won't ever watch it. I mean, honestly, I mean, unless it just happens to be the only thing on, I flip through it and it piques my interest for whatever reason. But yeah. I think I was so grew up and kind of stuck with Captain Kirk and the original
hmm
Spock and the all that crap that when the new generation came out with the bald headed dude that plays X the Professor Xavier.
yeah.
Picard. I it just I didn't like it. The reading rainbow dude was on there. I didn't like
I forgot LeVar Burton was on Reading Rainbow.
it.
Dude's got a wide range of characters in just three characters.
He
If he
does.
never acts again, he's got Kunta Kinte, Reading Rainbow, and Commander LaForge.
Yep.
Nice
See, you
resume.
could throw out names and I wouldn't even know who they were. It's unless they were the big four or five from the original.
That is true. Um, the reason why I prefaced the question to you is because we get a lot of people, especially in our circle, that like Star Trek. They're like, yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek sucks, this, that, and the other. And I came across an article, 13 ways Star Wars and Star Trek are way too similar.
Now I'm
So,
interested in seeing what these 13 because I can't pick one. So I'm like putty in your hands, brother. Make me believe.
okay. The first one, I get that because I noticed it on Deep Space Nine, which is a good one. That's got, a man called Hawk, aka um, Commander Cisco. There was an episode, they've got this enemy called the Breen. And I'm like, why does that enemy look so familiar? And there's a picture of Bausch and the Breen. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, somebody stole from somebody else because this is way too familiar. So I thought that was interesting because I caught that and I thought nobody else caught that. And by the
Is that
way,
is that is that an actual robot, or is that a person underneath the mask like the one on the left?
um, they're not a robot. They're some kind of other race, and they use the helmets to stay alive in Earth oxygen.
Okay. So they are organic creatures.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Because the one on the left is obviously for Wars fans, Princess Leia.
yeah. Bausch, or AKA Princess Leia in disguise in Jabba's palace.
Yep, she's there to save Han Solo and Chewbacca.
There you go. Only to get shitted on by the prequels. I mean the sequels, but that's
Right.
another story for another time. Secondly, space is really small. Really, really small. I get
What do you
that.
mean?
What they're saying is, and it says here, um, they seem to get from place to place quickly and nothing is too far away. And I get that, but I can see that in both of them because you're doing that to push the story along. If it took weeks to get somewhere, you'd never have a good story.
Yeah, I think on that though, that's any sci-fi space war type show. You know,
Agreed.
time travel or speed travel is pretty much a known commodity, I guess.
Small universe syndrome, which is basically like space being small, but seems like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, that's I can see that.
And grunts are mostly used in combat. That's any movie, whether it be science fiction or not. So, yeah. I mean, some of these similarities are just almost nitpicky. That's like saying, hey, they all use the word the in a sentence at one point. Yeah, that's
They're all on a ship.
Destiny's
They
Children.
they both have the name Star in their title.
Ooh, that's so similar. They both pilot ships.
Right?
I hate this one, destinies. Everybody has a destiny. I mean, if you didn't have a destiny, you wouldn't have a story. And if you didn't have a story, what would be the point? Like this one here, parental loss. Um, if you've got any Star Wars, for isn't a TV show. I mean, it didn't start off that way, but it's 6 or 9 movies, depending on how you look at it. And Star Trek has had many iterations. You've been around that long, somebody's gonna lose some parents. So, I
And I
mean,
think that's a pretty easy storyline to build off of
here we go.
to build
This one,
character.
this one. J.J. Abrams is controversial in both fandoms. Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
I
he's
can see that.
notorious for making you feel good about something until you get to the end. And then it's
Yes,
like, you could have did a little bit better to wrap things up.
kind of like the other director, Midnight Shyamalama Ding Dong. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all his movies are the same. They really
Yes,
are. Um, Mandalorians are Klingons. They've got honor. They love to fight, but I would say that's where it ends. I don't see any other similarities.
You might as well call them samurais. I mean, or ninjas or
And it
Spartans.
says
I
here,
mean, it's all the same.
both would do well to look more closely at the Edo period samurai culture. Maybe what they're based on, which is not a problem. I like that. Overpowered weapons. Well, if the Death Star wasn't overly powerful, it wouldn't be a threat.
Right? What's the overly powered weapon in Star Trek?
I have no idea what that is. Let me see if it's on here. Oh, they're just talking about each episode or movie, like V'ger or
Gotcha.
Zindi Death Balls. I don't know what that is. So, hey, maybe I do need to watch more Star Trek weapons. Underpowered weapons. Now, I'm going to disagree with this one. I don't think that there's any underpowered weapons in Star Wars. Your laser pistols are going to do what pistols do. Your cannons are going to do what cannons do.
I would probably say, um, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're trained, right? But like the vibro blades and things that come out, in these newer series
Yeah.
are less effective compared to what we grew up against. But yeah, I see your point.
Let's wind it down here. They're both science fantasies. Okay, that was the
Duh.
major stretch there. You think? I mean, I know that a lot of people will say Star Trek is more grounded in reality, but those of us who are Star Wars fans say that's what makes it more boring. I mean, Kirk's just jealous he
That's a
can't
nice.
use the Force.
That's a good one right there. AI is subclass. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's more prevalent in Star Wars, I would say.
Oh
But
yeah.
and again, somebody on somebody that is a big Trek fan will probably shoot us an email and say, "Hey, it's more prevalent in Star Trek." Um, I don't know. You might be right. I don't watch enough of it. Ginormous space navies. Well, if you're the Federation or the Alliance, wouldn't you have a navy? I mean, it's not one planet, it's several planets, alliances. So I can see
Yep.
it being ginormous. I mean, I would be concerned if they only had 10 ships in the fleet.
If I was the rebel, I'd be like, yes,
So
let's
yeah,
knock
that
these guys out and drink a cup of coffee. We're good. Or Java juice.
there you go. So I get those similarities. I'd say out of the 13, 6 of them are huge, huge reaches. Only 2, maybe 3 of them are, solid.
Yeah, I think a better comparison for completely different type of genre movies that are very similar,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars series and the Harry Potter series.
Mm,
So that's your homework assignment because those are so similar in so many ways.
interesting. I'm gonna have to do that homework then.
Chosen One, Harry Potter, you know, Voldemort, Darth Vader, lost their parents.
So what you're telling us is J.K. Rowling's ripped us off.
Pretty much, she just rewrote Star Wars in a in a what do they call them? Wizard and witch type scenario.
Yeah. Okay. I can see those. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting doing some checking up on that. Now I'm gonna run real quick from space to Earth, where we have Earth's mightiest heroes, aka the Avengers. I want to talk comics with you
All
because
right.
I came across this other article, 10 MCU theories that were better than what actually happened. So I'm going to go through these 10 and you tell me if you think that it's better than what we got. All right, here's the first one. You know all those cameos that Stan Lee has in every movie?
Mm-hmm.
This theory was Stan Lee was old Captain America just checking in on everything.
I like that.
I like that too. So he just happens to be everywhere because everything is going on, and he wants to make sure everything goes as planned and
And
nobody
would that
screwed
be
up.
and would that be like because he still has the time stone, he hasn't returned it yet.
Could
So
be.
he's interesting.
The second one, Ant-Man would kill Thanos via suppository. I've heard this one before, and that's gross, but I suppose he could have did that.
I think he would be capable of doing that as long as Thanos didn't have all the stones, because he would sense that.
I never thought about it like that. You might be right there.
Because he was able to think of things. For instance, the whole when he tricked the Guardians when they were on that planet to get when he took Gamora to take her to go get the Soul Stone, the way that he outthought them and knew how they would react, even though
Yeah.
he was playing with it. I think that would give him an extra. They alerted him somehow. But I mean, it's a great. I mean, if he was able to somehow get in that, I mean, he wouldn't even need to do that. Just crawl in his ear and blow his, pop his head off like a zit. I mean, that might happen, but
There you go.
I don't know why we have to go to the suppository thing. That's kind of disgusting.
That's the way it originally came about years ago when people were. So yeah,
But it's a good point.
yeah. You got the ear, the nose. I mean, it's a couple
Yeah,
different ways.
anything.
Here's a good one that I never thought of, but I can tell you why it wouldn't work. Alexander Pierce was Red Skull in disguise. Remember, that was Robert Redford's character in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. He was working with
Wouldn't work.
Hydra.
Wouldn't work because uh Red Skull was actually created back in the 40s. That dude wouldn't have been that old. He wouldn't have been that age.
Well, yeah, plus Red Skull was dead too. That's why he was where he was with the stones.
He wasn't dead though.
Well, I think he was in
He
another
was in the
world.
spirit realm. He was in the spirit realm covering holding the soul stone.
Hmm.
Because remember when Thanos got there, that's who he met, was Red Skull in the cloak.
Yeah,
So that's where he was. So theoretically, he's not dead.
that is true.
But I don't think that Robert Redford would be able to be that guy just because he wasn't alive when the Nazis were around, and he'd be much older, I would think. Um, when that particular time frame happened in the movies. I don't like that one. I agree with you.
Here's another one. The Soul Stone was in Wakanda all along. And it says, leading to Avengers Infinity War, one of the biggest unresolved plot threads was the fact that the location of the Soul Stone. One theory about where it was located speculated that it crashed on Earth in Wakanda as part of the vibranium meteor, and this was responsible for the growth of the heart-shaped herb and its ability to transport people to the ancestral plane, which bears striking resemblance to the Soul Stone. I don't like that one. That
How
makes
could
that makes
so?
it too
How did it
convenient.
get? How did it get from Wakanda to the Red Skull protecting it?
Exactly.
And how what being created the rule that you must give a soul to get the soul stone?
Yeah, see,
Because that's the
yeah,
rule.
that puts up more questions than answers.
Now I'm trying to think of which one it was. I'm trying to look it up. Now, if they said it was um the Mind Stone, the one that Vision had, maybe. But is it just because it was the same color or something like that?
I think that's what they're going with. It was just too convenient and it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah, that I'm with you.
Now,
Hated it.
since we're still talking about the Soul Stone, here's another one that I don't like. Heimdall had the Soul Stone, and it says here because Thanos spells their locations. I that's stupid. Somebody's
Say it
really reaching
again.
here. Heimdall had the Soul Stones. It says another theory about the location of the Soul Stone seemed ridiculous at first, but upon examination was far more compelling. Leading to Infinity War, it was theorized that the Soul Stone's location corresponds to a letter in Thanos' name: T, Tesseract; A, Ether; N, Necklace; O, Orb; S, Scepter. And that missing H pointed to the Soul Stone being in Heimdall's possession.
Who's Heimdall?
That would be the gatekeeper in the Thor movies, Idris Elba.
Oh hell no! Come
Yeah,
on
it doesn't
now.
work.
If that was the case, he would have all the stuff that happened on Asgard wouldn't happen.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Heimdall can see things.
Yes.
So yeah, he would have figured that out.
Yeah. No. I'm with you. Hated it.
In WandaVision, I don't know if you saw WandaVision. WandaVision
Yes.
would see Wanda create mutants. I kind of like that theory because that would introduce the world to mutants.
Except in the original comic book, Magneto is the father of the Scarlet Witch and the Silver Fox, who are brother and sister.
Yeah.
So it depends on the what timeline they're talking about, obviously.
Yeah, because it doesn't work for me.
But
because
explain
there's
to
a
me.
lot of
You're
mutants that
saying,
have to be around longer before, the 2000s.
yeah?
For
Are they
example,
saying?
Wolverine.
I mean, yeah, he's ageless basically. But who are they saying that they should have introduced that, or
That's what
that's
this
a
fan's
theory that
theory
she
was.
did introduce that?
These are all theories. So some people think that it's possible that she did. This was not mentioned in WandaVision at all, and I don't think Disney's pointed to it. I really believe that they're going a different route with mutants.
But every one of them characters, well, especially, I mean, like, okay, every character that we had, the only one that is truly gifted was Thor. He was the god of thunder. That's what it's his birthright, correct?
Yes.
In the original Avengers. Incredible Hulk had to have a gamma mess up. Iron Man ain't nothing but Marvel's version of Batman. He's just a rich dude with a great suit and a lot of tech. Ant-Man again, just a suit. He's nothing special. It's the suit. Spider-Man bit by a radioactive spider. Captain America got the super soldier serum, that type of thing. How did the Scarlet Witch come about in the Avengers? They never tell you. How did the Silver Fox in Age of Ultron? How'd they come about? You're never told. Those are mutants. They just don't call them that.
Agreed.
Yeah. So no.
Now, in the X-Men movies, they do allude to it.
In the newer ones and the
Yeah.
new generation ones, yes. But there's Scarlet Witch isn't in that one.
No,
Just
but
Silver Fox.
he is in there, and he says that he never met his father or somebody that his mom slept with, and
That can control metal.
Yeah, I think you did mention that. You're right.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, they're introducing that. But Daredevil, this new one coming out, I think that's when they're gonna start introducing actual. They're gonna redo X-Men, I assume, or something of that nature.
Okay. Yeah, because they're gonna have to give us X-Men and I believe the Fantastic Four. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they bring them about. But no, people, I don't think Wanda had anything to do with it.
I agree. We got off topic there, but I'm with you.
Oh, that's okay. Winding this one down, Thanos' snap split the universe in two. I don't even know where to begin with that.
I'd say that would make everything that happened after that completely mute, because the whole point is we have a multiverse. So there's infinite amounts of Thanoses, infinite amounts of each character. So yeah, no, I don't think that's right.
Speaking of those infinite amounts, and I've heard this theory so many times. They can bring Iron Man back with Tom Cruise. Let it go, people. Tom Cruise is not Tony Stark.
Right. And he'll be back, but he'll be a different variant of the one that we fell in love with that died at the end of Infinity War. I mean, it's not his last Iron Man that we're ever going to see him in there. He's just going to be a different variant. I mean, hell, he could come back as a bad guy.
That is true as well. That would be probably more interesting too. But what do I know? I mean, I'm just, Richard Kearney.
Marvel, if you're listening, we got some ideas.
Question is Marvel listening? I hear crickets. They're probably not listening. They don't listen to me. All right. Let's talk some football before we get out of here. We are talking today about the glorious NFC South. And this division kind of hurts me.
I don't
want to cut in a minute.
We still have the other big thing to talk about too, right? The Jason Aldean deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's shoot through this thing real quick.
Excellent. NFC South. All right.
Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. My friend,
you want me to pick them in order?
Yeah. Let me tell you what hurts me first. I mean, I don't care one way or another about this division, but team photos are starting to come out. And today I saw Derek Carr in black and gold. It just looked odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, it would.
I got to get over that. I know. And I know Bucks fans out there are like, well, we got Tom Brady and we weren't used to seeing him in red, white, and blue. Well, shut up.
Exactly. Who's the coach of the Saints? Is anybody worth a crap?
No, it is Dennis Allen. He coached the Raiders at one point. Obviously, you don't remember his tenure there because it was lackluster.
Was Derek Carr his quarterback at that time?
He drafted Derek Carr, but then got fired at the end of that year.
That makes sense. That makes sense why he's there. I think the two best teams in that division are the Saints and the Panthers. I think the Falcons will be dead last. The Bucks have Baker Mayfield, so they're not going to be worth a crap. I like the first round draft choice quarterback that the Panthers took. And then Derek Carr is going to keep them competitive. I mean, Derek Carr is the upper echelon of the quarterbacks in that division.
I would like nothing more than Carr to get some playoff wins. Win a first round and a second round. Just to show Vegas, hey, I can play. I mean,
so ladies and gentlemen of
I don't see him winning.
Audience,
I don't see him winning at all. But
I can hear Rick now. Saints, Raiders, Super Bowl. You're gonna pick it. I know you are. I already hear it.
No,
I hear it in your voice.
No, we've had the luxury of having two home teams in a Super Bowl, i.e. the Buccaneers and then the Rams. I don't think that's something that's going to happen again for a long, long time.
Is it the Vegas? Are we in Vegas this year?
Yes, the Super Bowl is in Vegas this year.
That's where the Chiefs are going to win it this year? Yeah, well, that's kind of Arrowhead West, so it's all right.
Oh, God, now I hope the Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl because I will never hear the end of it if they win the Super Bowl in Vegas. I will never hear the end of it. Bronco fans, I need your best defense to go after Mahomes.
Take the penalty. Back to 1996 and 97.
Take the fines. Take the fines. Take him out of the game. We can even deal with a one-game suspension. Do what you got to do, Bronco fans. Do what you got to do.
They better kill him because my man can still play with on one leg. So do what
On
you got to
one
do.
leg with less than 13 seconds.
That's right.
All right, I'm going with this. I think you just said it too. Saints, Panthers, Bucks, Falcons. Is that what you had too?
Yeah. I don't really have a number one. It's going to be the Panthers or the Saints. They're interchangeable to me.
Yeah.
So I think the Panthers have a really good defense. They have some really good core players. If if their quarterback can do anything, they got a shot. Derek Carr is going to keep the Saints relevant. The other two teams are just going to be fodder for everybody else in the NFL.
I can see that. All right, let's get serious for a second. Tell me about this Jason Aldean thing. I have not heard the song yet.
Oh, the song's not bad. You should play it. We could YouTube it right now. It's not bad at all. It's about 2.5 minutes. It's not very long.
What is the name of the song again, Jason? Oh, try that in a small town.
In a small town.
We're about to listen to this Jason Aldean song. I have not heard it before. So before I talk about what all this fuss is about, I'm gonna hear it and I'm gonna draw my own conclusion.
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think it's tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town full of good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Boy, doesn't that just make you outraged?
Okay, I'm going to say this. This is going to be the unpopular opinion until you hear me out. This song is not so much racist as it is stupid. And after looking at people talk about this online, and hearing the lyrics to the song now, I can tell you why I feel that way. All right. some of the shots that are in this video, per se, of crowds and police forces, those aren't in the city of any place in America. A lot of that is on foreign soil. Things are a little
That's
bit
wrong.
different there.
That's wrong. Those are all of
Not all of them.
BLM and yeah. If you actually talk, if you, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't interrupt you. Go ahead.
Okay, but what I'm getting at, and even if they're all in America, I get that. But as someone who lives in a small town, the exact same things happen here that happened in Kansas City, which is where I am from. So I know both. And I get it, except for the fact that dude's not from a small town. Dude doesn't live in a small town. I've seen that a lot on the internet. Not quite the authority to be talking about that.
Where's he from?
Didn't research that. I wanted to hear the song first because I didn't realize what the lyrics were. Try that in a small town. Oh, lots of stuff happens in the small towns too.
I think you're
Now, the
missing
only
what
difference
his point
is
was.
people in the small town know each other. So, yeah, it's harder to get away with stuff because everybody knows everybody. Ergo, less of it happens, but it does still happen.
I don't think he's saying try that in a small town because that shit doesn't happen here. He's saying if you bring that shit here, it's not going to go over as well as it does in the big cities. Because in small towns, they're very tightly knit, you know, they defend one another. My neighbor is your neighbor. You know, we're not going to let somebody come in and just beat up an old lady or carjack somebody or rob. You know, if we catch it, we're going to do something about it. That's where his mindset is.
But if you go by that mindset, if we catch it, we're going to do something about it. If somebody gets caught in the city, they do something about it too.
No, I mean,
So
but you've seen all that stuff. They're saying if a riot breaks out in, one horse town, Mississippi, USA, those good old country boys are going to fight back.
Right, but
on majority of
how
these
would you
riots
have a
that
riot
happen,
in a small town?
that's not the point. That's
But
not
it
his
is the point. You can't have a
No.
riot.
You're
in a
missing
small
his
town.
point. He's saying that's the point of being in a small town. That crap's not going to come here. It's not going to fly here. So don't try it. Keep it over there. But if you come here, you're going to find out. I recommend you don't, but you're going to find out. You're going to learn today. That's what he's saying.
Right, but if you listen to some of the other lyrics, good old boys raised right. Are you saying city folk aren't raised right?
No,
that's what I picked up from it.
You're picking nits.
I'm going by what he said.
Your argument is completely different than what the whole country is in the uproar about.
I'm being the man in the middle right now because I'm trying to look at it subjectively. This is the first time I've heard it, and
I got you.
This is only my second or third time
hearing it. I all did it today. I just did a lot of research on it today because I knew we'd talk about it. But I mean, my first time hearing it was today as well.
I mean, because he doesn't outright say anything that's racist, and he doesn't allude to anything racist. But at the same time, I'm coming from the standpoint of, well, a lot of what he says can't fly because a small town community is built differently.
That's the point of the song.
But he's not saying that.
Yes, he is. The words say it. Try that in a small town. I recommend you don't, because that stuff's not going to work here. That's exactly what the words say.
But how can it happen in a small town? How can you have a riot?
How can it happen?
How can 1,000 people in a city march to a small town and have a riot? The riot would be in the city.
Go to a big city. The way that hundreds of thousands of people go to a big city.
But in the history of riots, have you ever seen one that happened in a small town?
Flint, Michigan is not a huge town. There were riots there because of the water issue.
And how did that go over?
Not very well.
So then that proves that he's wrong. It can happen in a small town.
It's not about that it can't happen. They're saying all of the crap that's happened in the last few years. Now, all those videos, all that stuff is BLM, Antifa, all of that is here. None of that was wars across the country. All of that is
Okay.
taken about all the stuff that's happened here in
Let's
the
keep
last
it in
few
America
years.
then. Forget about the fights. Just look at the riots themselves. Let's say it's a quiet protest. That can happen in a small town.
But he's not saying that that's a bad thing. He's saying all the violence that happens from these things. Try that in a small,
But see,
tight-knit
that's
there's going
where
to be a
you and I
different
differ.
result.
He says, try that. We don't know the scope of that from his word that in the lyrics.
Okay,
He could
let's
mean
go to the
try
lyrics.
that, or he could mean try that. That's why I would have to listen to it several times and really dissect it and bisect it.
So the lyrics are: sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act the fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town.
And there's the problem, that last word. All those things that you mentioned have happened in small towns. They've happened in big cities and small towns.
I think you're missing. I
I'm
thoroughly
probably
think you're
missing the
missing
point.
the point.
I probably
Yeah.
am missing the point. So help me out
Because
here.
he's not talking about can it happen in a small town. Has an old woman ever been beat up in a small town? Yes. Has a cop ever been spit in the face in a small town? Yes. Have there been cameras there to show it? No. That's the point. That's the point. When
That's the
all
point I'm
the
trying to make. Because
all
we
the
don't see it
cameras,
like we do
because
on the news.
No. He's not saying that it can't happen. What he's saying is all that shit that was happening in the public eye, on purpose. Bring that public violence to my town, and you're going to get a different result. That's basically what he's saying. And I don't have nothing wrong with the song. You know, here's the racist part of it. This is why people are in uproar. The building that he's singing in front of is a historically building in Tennessee where a young man was lynched in 1927. And it was the stage for race riots in 1947 or 44, in the 40s.
Okay.
So
see, now I did not know that part, because I'm prepared to say, hey, I don't get any racist undertones.
That building is historically known for public lynching.
That changes the landscape of it then.
Right. But he says he didn't know anything about that, whether he did or not. I'm where I blame is him. His publisher should have known about it. His producer said, hey, maybe we should just film in front of an American flag somewhere, in front of a barn in the middle of the country or something.
Now, just looking at that itself, like you said, somebody knows something, because if it's a quote unquote historic building, somebody knows what the history of that building is.
Yeah, it's the hold on here. It's the Maury County Courthouse in Columbia. Same site where a black teenager was lynched in 1927, accused of assaulting a 16-year-old girl. He was 18 years old. He was jailed, but a mob of hundreds of white people kidnapped him from his cell. He was tied to the back of a car and dragged across town, and eventually hung in front of that building where he sang that song.
All right, so I'm going to say this, again, keeping with the unpopular opinion, but this is just me, based on today only. He makes this video, like you said, it could be in front of an American flag, it can be with no flag at all, no background at all, and no graphics whatsoever, just him and the band singing the song. We're not having this conversation today.
No, I think that it's because of all the videos he put in. I think the fact that he chose the building was not very cool. But if he would have put one other clip and all of that, it would have made all the other arguments moot. If he would have put in clips of them rioting the Capitol January the 6th and added that with all of the nonsense that was in his video,
I would take it a
everybody's
step further.
argument, everybody's
If
argument
he put in a
would have been
clip
moot.
with people of different races in a small town together, just hanging out or just being cool,
But
that
that's
makes a
not
difference too.
But that's not the song. The words are talking about all the violence, not us hanging, not us
Right,
being
but
cool.
but then you've got people in a small town with no violence, which is what he's trying to say, right?
No, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, if you want to come to my town and be violent, we can be violent back. But it's not going to be the same violence that you received by the. It's kind of like, okay, the wolf pack, right? We can talk about each other, right?
Right.
Let somebody else talk about us outside of our group. We're all going to defend the other person regardless.
Absolutely.
That's where I feel his mentality is coming from. You know, you want to try all that with your friends over there, with your group over there. Don't come over here messing with the wolf pack, because you're going to wish that you didn't. That's kind of how I see it, if that makes sense.
And I can totally see that. And like I said at the beginning, I didn't get any overtly racist overtones until you told
Definitely
me
in the
about the
lyrics.
building that he was in front
Yeah,
of.
definitely in the lyrics, there is no racial overtones. The racial overtone, everything that I've looked at, is because of that building. That it being a notorious or a historical, I don't know what the word is, you know, of a public
Right.
lynching of a young kid back in the 20s.
Mm.
But you know, 1944 or 40 whatever wasn't really that long ago. There was a race riot also that stemmed in front of that building as well in the 40s, you know. But you know, everybody wants to talk about, I think, you know, the liberal society, the liberals want to create animosity
Yes.
in this country. And one way to ignite any sort of reaction is to use the word lynch, no matter what it is. And people get uproared and people start defending and co-defending and not defending and getting ticked off. And I think that's where, if you want to, my what's the word I'm looking for? My conspiracy theorist hat going on here. What are they trying to make us look away from? What's going on right now? What do we don't know yet that's going to happen here in the next month or two that we're going to be like, crap, we were all focused on that damn song that didn't really mean anything. And, you know, now we have to pay $12,000 a day in taxes just to breathe or something. You know, they're going to start taxing air.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, society and governmental society is big on that. We need a big story to get them to look away from what's really going on.
Yeah. And I also think you're a lover of music. I'm a lover of music.
Yes.
You're a lover of artistry. I'm a lover of artistry. Our homie Kaz from the other show, he's a he's a lover of music and artistry. I think the political views, all of that crap, we need to just kind of disassociate ourselves from that when it comes to music. The guy is just he's expressing his artistic, whatever it is. You know, I mean, if people don't get offended because Cardi B's talking about her warm ass pizza in the show, in the song WAP,
Yeah.
you know,
and by the way, she's not talking about pizza, folks.
No. This is a kid show.
I'll say this. Two different things that people like to say, because I've seen somebody compare it. One is just gross and stupid. And the other one, the jury's still out on. If he truly didn't know what that building was, you chalk that up as stupidity, ignorance, whatever.
My publicist or somebody would be fired.
I don't get any overtly racist overtones from this song.
I agree.
After just watching the video once, hearing the lyrics once, I do believe that, I don't want to say it's much ado about nothing, but it's much ado about nothing. It really is, because we can focus on a lot more things. And oh, by the way, to my black people out there, I'm going to say this because I am black, and it makes more sense than you would believe. Hear me out, because I've said this on the show before. I don't like it when black people try to make something of their own, but turn around and say, they don't let us in X, Y, and Z. You can't have it both ways. And a good example, and I know we've used this on the show, the BET Awards and the Grammys. Well, we're not included in the Grammys in every category. So we're going to have the BET Awards. I don't believe that you should have both. First of all, I don't believe that you should have a black award show, because now you're saying it's okay to have this award show, that award show, and that award show. If we've learned nothing from the late 80s and early 90s, doesn't the word apartheid mean separate but equal? And isn't that an oxymoron? How can you be separate and yet be equal? We should strive to be included in everything. Every race should. The minute you decide that you're going to go off and do your own thing and not do what everybody else does, you are no longer the victim. You become the monster. And that doesn't make it right. That just makes you want to do something different. Again, right is not different. Different is not right. That's all I'm saying about that.
One more thing I'm going to add to this to see if maybe it'll change your mindset just a little bit about this song when you say, because our views are, the way you look at it, I'm looking at it differently. So the chorus says, try that in a small town, see how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. If you cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. So I think that's what I'm saying, that he's trying to say, if you're going to bring that BS here, you're going to wish that you didn't. Not that the BS can't come here, or any of those singularities of that, the lady getting mugged or whatever could not happen in a small town. But if you bring that, if you're looking for trouble, you don't want to come here, is basically how I'm seeing that.
And I understand where you're coming from. And I want to open this up further in the comments. For those of you who are, watch the show on YouTube, leave us a comment and let us know what you think about it. Because I am very curious to see what other thoughts there are on it. And again, only heard the song just now on this show. This is what I get from it right off the bat. I will probably watch the show Thursday when it comes out and be like, what about this? So don't be surprised if you see a comment from myself on there, but I just really want to know what the public thinks about it. And again, much ado about nothing, to be honest.
I agree with you there. I agree with you. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors to get people pissed off at one another.
And we need to be less pissed off.
I do think that he does need to be criticized for his location of shooting the video. That is probably I can't say probably, it was done in poor taste, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
Now,
with
if he
you
came out
100%
there and there was a rebel flag behind him, instead of the American flag, then I could see, okay, oh my God, I could see more of the racial, but
and that's the other thing
telling you what happened about that building, you wouldn't have any idea.
I strongly believe that somebody in his position, if he wanted to make it more racist,
he could have.
Exactly.
Yes. So, so cool. Much to do about nothing. We'll agree.
Pretty much.
And then, yes, I would love to see some comments on that.
All right, you heard the man. Get to typing.
That's right. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff.
Tell
Real
your friends
quickly
too.
I want to hype up my boy or my homie Sensei Greg Brown. September 28th, 2023, there at Shogun Martial Arts Supply or Martial Arts Dojo. He is going to have a seminar, and it's for adults only. No gi, no kata, no abuse. That's basically what it means. You just show up in your regular old clothes, and he's going to train you, give you some ideas on just simple self-defense techniques. From what I understand, it's just a one-day class. It's from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on the 28th of September. And then afterwards, he'll have a short 15 to 20-minute question and answer. Price for that is $35. I'm telling you, $35 just to actually learn some stuff is worth it. Most likely, there's a 95% chance that yours truly will be there. So if you are a fan of the show, you'll get to see me in person. So yeah, and love you guys, love each other.
Yeah, I'd be there, but I live in a small town.
We'll bring it to you.
We got to have Greg back on the show one day anyway. So yeah, there you go.
Yes, we will.
All right. Yeah. You got anything else before we go out?
Just like I said, tomorrow's not promised. Love each other. And, don't mess with the wolf pack.
Yeah. What he said. Later.
See ya.